blow up a Death Star in your own home, unofficially. "3D Starstrike" isn't a name that immediately makes you think of Star Wars, but yes, this is a clone of the Star Wars arcade game. It's by Real Time Systems, a Leeds-based company founded by 3 students from Leeds University. The game came out in 1984, costing £5.95 on the Spectrum, £6.95 on the CPC. There is no C64 version, and we start off on the Speccy. The game is best played with a joystick. And look, there's some TIE fighter type things. Now, you are flying in a preset on rails type arrangement, so you're not flying around space, but it's just 3D things flying at you, a bit like kind of Space Harrier, I suppose. You have to survive this level, and you have shields and lasers which can overheat. Over to the Amstrad CPC. This version came out in 1985. The loading screen isn't as elaborate as the Spectrum version, and it's in mode naught. And again, I strongly recommend you use the joystick. The controls they're self-centering on the Spectrum, but not on the Amstrad. But they are reversed flight controls, so down is up, up is down. It is slightly easier to target the enemies on the Amstrad, and your lasers can overheat. It's a high-score attack game, really, although the game doesn't actually have a high-score table, and there are several difficulty levels. I'm on easy. But the aim for level 1 is just to survive this kind of onslaught of enemy craft and things that fly at you. So we come into attack run. So we've got these small tower things, and you can just shoot them. There's no target in terms of how many to do. And then this is that on the Spectrum. The Spectrum version is far more defined because it's running in a higher resolution and it's faster. However, it is more difficult. And I've certainly found out my shield goes down far quicker on the Spectrum, but the lasers don't overheat as much. This game in the Spectrum won a Golden Joystick Award for 1984 in ChinnyVision. It was also Game of the Month. Also got a Crash Smash. Re-released in 1986 on the 299 Classics range, which was a predecessor to Encore by Elite. So now we're into the trench section on the not the Death Star, right? Also had re-releases on 10 computer hits to 6 computer hits, and Silverbird released it as we go back onto the CPC on a kind of budget compilation for $1.99 of Starstrike 1 and 2. Starstrike 2 is quite interesting because it has more variation in the gameplay and filled 3D graphics. Real Time also developed Carrier Command and Star Fox, not the Nintendo game, obviously, the 8-bit game, and also ported Elite to several home computers, and put Starglider on the Spectrum and presumably CPC as well. And Vector Graphics were down the road from them, and there were collaborations and doing other 3D games as well, including, I think, Fighter Bomber. So now we go on to the just the trench section. You have to avoid these things. At this stage, nothing's shooting at you down here. It's a shame there's no power-ups to pick up. Everything seems to be... I mean, what are those things? I've tried to pick those things up, those blobby things, but they just seem to deplete your shield. So just got to avoid these things here. And just get the highest score possible, really. As I say, everything is on rails. Again, I suppose, you know, Star Fox, Star Wing is very much on rails. I mean, you get the impression you're flying around, but actually, you're on rails. Like, you've got to shoot that and that. Oh, yep. And then you get through here. And then, there you go, escape sequence initiated. And, oh, look, not the Death Star blows up because it's a planet. And then we hyperspace into level 2. And we do it all again, but slightly harder. Except there is a slight twist in a minute that we'll see. So, just coming to the end of the trench on the Spectrum. Don't have much energy, as I said, it's much harder on the Speccy. Right, so you've got to shoot that, and then, oh, I've not done it. No, game over, I didn't get the shield. If you do survive going through the shield because you haven't shot both blocks, you have to do the trench sequence again. So this is level 2 on the Amstrad. And now we've got to shoot 15 tower tops. You know, just like in the Star Wars arcade game, because, yeah, this is Star Wars, isn't it, really? Incidentally, Vector Graphics down the road did the home ports of Star Wars just a year later, so, again, I don't know if there's any personnel sharing for that. ChinnyVision is a bit sporadic these days, but if you want more stuff from the channel, there's ChinnyVision 2, and there's also the ChinnyVision podcast. Details of all that is in the description below. Plus, ChinnyVision is on Ko-Fi, where the bonus content is open to all, regardless on if you choose to give some money or not. So there's extra things on there as well. Again, details in the description below. You look at all these games, from Star Wars through to this, to Star Wing, Star Fox, and on the SNES, and you go, yeah, actually, you know, and it's such a jump, isn't it, in such a small amount of time. You think today, a game from 10 years ago looks pretty similar to a game today, and yet you look at this, and then you look like 10 years later, and you've got Star Wing, Star Fox, and it's all filled graphics, proper kind of, you know, it just looks, it's such a leap. So, shoot the reactor pods, got that one, done it, yep, done that. And out we go. And that will be the end of level 2. And that's pretty much it. That is the game loops over. You have to go onto a higher difficulty level if you want more of a challenge. I've checked the RZX archive, for example, and yeah, they go to the end of level 2 because there's no more to see. So I shot the pods, and out we go. And then the escape sequence is initiated on the Spectrum. It's such a shame there isn't actually a high score table, because you'd like to try and go back and beat your high score every time. But you just need to write it down, I guess, and come back to it. And on to level 3, and it's now just, it's much the same, really. This is not a game you're going to be playing for large periods of time. You're just going to be going in for a high score challenge and then go and play something else. Or you have a go and then your mate has a go and see who gets the best score. 3D Starstrike, well, it's a Star Wars clone in your home, and who doesn't want that, right? It's quite a basic game with not a lot of variation, but it is fun. Today it seems a bit odd that you're doing this on rails, but once you get the hang of that, it's perfectly fine. No, it's not Starglider, which only came out a couple of years later, where you can fly around and have a lot more fun and there's a lot more variation to the gameplay. Of course, coding techniques improved. There are better examples of this stuff later on, but in 1984 and 1985, with just $5.95 on the Spectrum or $6.95 on the CPC, this would have represented a lot of fun. Even more so if you got it with Starstrike 2 on budget via Silverbird. Will I keep coming back to this today? Not really, I think I've already exhausted it. But what it has given me is a taste to go and find out some more 3D home micro games.